Good morning. It is July 16th, 2025. We're here for the Program Policy and Appeals Committee meeting of the Branch of the St. Joseph Board of Health. Teresa, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Leininger,
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer, Commissioner Stoll.
Present.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if you will move to approve the agenda.
I will.
Board, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Public comment,
As usual.
not even Don here. Unfinished business, we have none. Moving forward to new business. Okay, to the workforce development. Go over that.
So this is a existing document that we reviewed and made some updates to. Teresa spent some time massaging the layout. And I mean, you know, this is just a guiding key for us. We utilize this to determine, you know, how we need to move forward with training and, you know, assisting our staff and understanding all of the core competencies for public health and continuing educations. Allows us to address where they stand as far as what we're looking for, and then make those changes. So this is a document that Chris Dewey, Teresa Fisher, and I reviewed together, and this is the final for you today. I don't really have much more to say than that. I mean, this is a plan that allows us to thoughtfully educate and improve our staff.
Is this a document that the Board of Health needs to approve?
We do need you to approve it. That, you know, it is a plan that we use to develop our staff.
Was it that the history of here, the Tri-County was formed in 72? Was it a single county for that, or?
Branch and Hillsdale were together first, and then St. Joseph County came in to the group in 72.
Okay.
I don't know when Branch and
Or you've
Hillsdale.
got dating back, collaboration dating back to 66, or maybe that's when the two.
That would make sense to me. But St. Joe did join in 72.
And I can tell you, I did not do that research. That is not changed since the original workforce development plan was written by Teresa Christner many years ago.
Well, I will move that we recommend the adoption of the workforce development plan to the full board health.
I'll support that. Bit of a question too. So MPHI is who kind of does the assessment and all that kind of stuff. I was just reading a little bit on that. Do they perform that function for multiple health agencies? And okay,
So currently, the agency holds a cross-jurisdictional sharing grant that we get through MDHA Plus to prop up and improve public health services and supports. So MPHI, we contract with them to do the heavy lift for that grant work. And we take a regional approach, so it's this Southwest Michigan corner. We go as far north as Kent, Ottawa and Kent, and then over to Barry Eaton and Jackson. And so that whole little corner there, those health departments are all part of our cross-jurisdictional sharing grant. So we come together about 6 times a year to meet and provide guidance to the work that we have MPHI do. And then they do this assessment for us, and so they collect the data, they massage it, put it into a report for us, and then spit it back out. I'm sorry, does that answer your question?
yeah, it does. And I mean, just curious, especially on this page here where it kind of ranks
Mhm.
the different areas. Because I mean, you guys probably maybe have seen this in the past. Um, are these things that we like?
If I may.
Sure.
So, the national accreditation for local public health, which is called FAB, that workforce assessment is a requirement that be done every 2 years.
Okay.
So any health department that is nationally accredited has to do this every 2 years.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's also, and that's the framework that you're seeing on that page there. Those are criteria that are set forth that we have to assess on the national level. This workforce development plan is also, and a staff assessment is also required by Project Health Ready, which we do not participate in either one, although we try to align ourselves with those standards. We're just not willing to pay the big money to get that accreditation because there's really no tangible benefit from it. But we do try to align ourselves and comply with as much of it as we can.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense then, I guess. So I just was curious about how this started, why we do it, and then how do we, you know, I'm going to guess probably try to track our improvement. I mean, and I mean, also the things that are outlined as far as the priorities and all that kind of stuff. Are those typically the priorities that come out of this, or do those change like every couple of years?
They do. Every time we do an assessment, we have a changing priority. A couple of, well, the Public Health 101 training was developed by this group because there was a need based out of this assessment. The Public Health Finance training that was developed that can be used across the state that was developed by this group was identified as a need that we needed to, train our staff better. And so we developed that training tool. So we do, as a group of that region, those 10 counties, we do look at what the priorities are and try to figure out something we can do to address some of that.
Yeah. So our first product was 101. A lot of our staff don't even know really what public health is, how it exists, why we're here. What we
Sure,
do.
sure.
And then we've moved on to other projects since then.
Okay. And yeah, in the prioritization of the results here it talks about like leadership system, thinking skills, etc., and under all tiers. And I was just curious. I mean, how do we kind of like get at that a little bit? I mean, to really determine how like we address those things.
We do look at this when we do our annual meeting
Okay.
and try to address during the annual meeting, what kind of a training can we do that will help address some of these issues that we have. We have all of the new hires go through a particular training regimen. And then we have an employee satisfaction committee that also can help us with types of things that staff need and try to address those that way. Can you think of anything else?
Yeah, if in the plan there are specific trainings, we try to leverage online trainings that are produced by other places. We vet them and determine whether or not they're a good fit.
Sure.
We use a lot of stuff from MyTrain. We use a lot of stuff from the Michigan Region 5 Public Health Training Center. There was some really good trainings on leaderships and system thinking skills that are spelled out in this plan for people to take, that were put together by a health department in Washington State, but they're free and available. And the basic ideas are the same, like health leadership and thinking skills are the same no matter where you are. So, I've actually personally vetted every one of those courses, and I think there's something to be learned from them that can help increase our competencies. So we also oftentimes have NPHI will do a lot of vetting as part of this group, and they will identify trainings that they think are good that we can leverage to help increase our
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because you guys know this already, but the categories are pretty broad, right? When they're prioritizing the results there. So, I mean, it's sometimes like the employee surveys too, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, but the response categories are so broad that you really don't know. I mean, what do you need to really address? You know, so you have to kind of try to get at that a little bit, you know, but I'm glad to hear you doing at least trainings and looking at that stuff. So that's good. So
It's a lot of training that goes in here.
yes, I can understand that. Yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding the employee workforce development plan to the full board with recommendation for approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carried. Next, and just not necessarily for any action, but just the health officer evaluation policy is there. Next item, you know, there, the requirement that the employee satisfaction survey, the fourth bullet underneath policy statement, is required to be provided to the Board of Health at least 1 month prior to it completing the health officer evaluation. And with us not meeting next month, at the policy committee meeting, I wanted to have this today so that we could have this so that, and we can maybe, I may ask Teresa Dad to make some changes to the, I got questions I got, as we get into the employee satisfaction survey, which is the next item. And Teresa, my question is when I get to these pages,
Mhm.
okay, and I've got stuff that's color coded here. You know, I got stuff in one column that's green and it's red in the prior column. What's our base? There's no
There's no,
key for what's our basis for, well, it's green here and it was red here, but those numbers are really not that much different.
It's like it was an increase.
yeah, so it is red if it was a decrease from the previous survey. It's green if we did better.
Okay, so even looking at 24, that 24 number, it was a decrease from the 23 survey.
Yes.
But some of those are so small. Just, you know,
I know.
I mean, you don't have the number
Sample,
there.
right, the sample size is,
Well, and even like it could be like the first, it could be 3.91, you know, and this one's 3.93, and now 3.92. So
the other thing is, and again, maybe just, we may need to highlight that somewhere here on, is a key, you know, when we talk about this, just as a reminder. The other thing is, this doesn't, just looking at this does not tell me what the max score is on those categories. Is it a 5? Is it a, you know,
Yeah, I was curious about that too. I figured it's probably a 5.
you know,
It is.
and looking through this online, you know, and in fact, this is why I know you like things digitally, Commissioner, but let's say when you're then coming back to look at these questions on the health officer survey, and, you know, some of these things, well, you can look at summary or even look at some of the questions here, but if there were answers provided, the answers are not on this page. You got to come back further back in here. And to me, you know, that's why I like having it on paper, because if there are comments here, so 44.
Oh, I get what you're saying. The different potential different answers is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those questions are not necessarily right next to the
Right.
where the question was. So, you know, if there was an opportunity for comment. So,
I do think he would be helpful.
I'll certainly add that.
Yeah, and some of these percentages are pretty small changes. They're
Yeah.
fractions. So
Yeah.
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 Well, you know,
I mean, it is nice that you highlight it, that whether it up or down. No, it is good. Yeah.
I mean, I can churn this data any way you'd like to see it. We generally do the summary just because it makes it quick and easy to look
Sure.
at. It does not then have all the open-ended question answers, which is why I provided the big page by page thing. I can give it to you however you would like to see it. Just didn't know what you wanted to see this year.
You've, in some of these questions, you know, like I think the first question or whatever, you know, tells us that there was 57 people that at least answered that question, and I think one of the last questions on the survey, I mean, matches up 57. You've answered all the questions on the survey. And maybe just somewhere here in the summary, you've got a breakdown as to, you know, where the survey came from, but nowhere there is that, what percent of the agency staff completed the survey?
Yeah,
Well,
what's the
there's-
response rate?
Yeah,
I can get that for you.
Yeah, I mean, do you know right offhand how many?
it's like 72.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty good response rate. I
Mhm.
figured it was probably pretty high.
I mean, so we're about 68% there.
In my experience, it's an excellent response rate.
I didn't do the math.
Excellent.
We kind of beg them, you know, we send it out several times, you know, reminding initial, and then there were at least 2 reminders that I could think of.
Yeah, it's about 75%, 76%.
Are we at 72 employees right now?
We have 75
75.
if we're fully staffed.
Is that,
It fully staffed, but I thought we had cut back some on some of that.
we did not fill.
Yeah,
like, a
I'm not sure. I'd
supervisor.
have to look
Yeah.
exactly to see how many again.
Yeah, response rate's helpful.
I mean, and right. Yeah. At that, pushing 80%, that is a fairly good.
That's an excellent response rate.
I'm very happy with 57.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, from an agency that does a lot of these, yeah, we typically will roll in sometimes around 45% unless we like
You know,
really.
unless you incentivize it somehow,
Yes,
you
unless
know.
we really price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving them a gift card to something, yeah, exactly. No, I think this is pretty amazing. We had some conversation about how to present the comments to you. You know, you can use lots of different technologies today that would summarize the comments for you. I personally find that to be misleading, so we didn't provide that.
Didn't provide the comments. I didn't.
They are as they were, you know, typed into the survey by the staff member is how we. provided
Sorry,
it.
some of these, I don't know. So some of these, there's not even an option to provide a comment on that. Some of the earlier questions.
Yeah, no, none of the earlier questions are open-ended that you cannot provide a
I was
comment
thinking we could.
until you get all the way like toward the end. Question 44 is the first one that you can provide a
That increases our ability to get responses.
Is question 42 and 43. Is there easier way to simplify the reporting of those answers on that? Is there?
I'm not a huge fan of question 42 or 43. They're on there because they've historically always been on there. These questions are, the scale is inverted. So in all the previous questions, a higher number is better. And in these questions, they flipped it so that a lower number is better. Why did they do that? But that is the way that it has historically been, and because we compare year to year, we have not changed.
The other thing is coming back to the summary page. you've got these,
Gotta put those numbers, question first, summary. It's hard
Yeah.
to type that. They were on there, I just didn't get them selected in the print,
Yeah.
when I set the print area, I must have skipped that column.
to try to follow and look here. Oh, what question number is that?
That's
Sorry about
an
that.
easy fix.
And then I guess the other thing is in that summary page, so it's on the second page there, after the third yellow area there.
Yeah.
Is where it switches to lower ranking or lower number is a better one.
Yeah, and they're actually in the spreadsheet, there's a big yellow box there that says that. But I notice it is not on here. So that does need to be added back to I don't know why that didn't print. Good. Very good question. Information.
All right, just highlight that, make sure that we get something on there that says here, 5 is, and I guess in the future, we need to change that and get it to where either 1's the best or 5's the best all the way across that survey. So we don't have an issue like this. Well, wait a minute here. This is 4.22 and that's good. Well, this is, went from 1.93 to 1.85 in its green because
It is confusing.
any other comments that you guys have about the survey? Staff satisfaction survey.
Lots of good information in there. So same thing, I guess, about that I was asking about the workforce development. Do we when we collect these answers and we get the responses and everything, do we good then you have staff meeting and that kind of thing? Do you try to get any more specific information so you can address concerns or?
The staff did receive this information, just the same day actually that we sent it to you. Because once it's to you, it is on our website and it's public and we want them to be able to see it as well. We will have time at our next all staff meeting. Those are virtual, and we can do a call out, but usually people are pretty shy.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But we have other mechanisms for employee input. Those include suggestion boxes and break records. We have personnel policy representatives from each county, and they're encouraged to bring any issues or concerns to them. And then, of course, we can certainly look at this information for quality improvement projects.
We have an employee satisfaction committee
Oh,
that will receive this data and will try to come up with a work plan they'll determine based on the committee findings of reading this data, what their priority is, and they'll put together a work plan for the year to try to improve whatever they hone in on.
Yeah, that's very good. Actually, I was going to suggest that so that, just as long as, I'm just think if we're collecting the information and we're gathering data, we should be doing something. with it,
Absolutely.
right? So,
Right. We don't want to do something and just leave it.
even if the responses are overwhelmingly positive, but it looks like they generally are, it's always an opportunity to improve, I guess. So,
Well, and I think that's why we get a good response rate, because they know we're gonna, use the
Yes.
information, or the committee's gonna use the information to try to do something better.
good.
And question 5. I'm generally satisfied with my salary and benefit.
Your question or your comment on that is?
Well, there's some that strongly disagree. Well, I'm gonna guess that those people are either looking for another job because if they strongly disagree that they're satisfied with their salary and benefits, they're looking for something different. Or I don't know what we could do to ever make them, financially as an agency, where they're going to be satisfied with their salary and benefit. Because, we are constrained with, as a governmental agency with revenue and,
Yeah, again, in my experience of doing a lot of these, that typically is one of the answers that always scores low. And I think it's, honestly, I think one of the reasons that people do it, I don't know if they're necessarily looking for their job, but I think that they somehow think that, oh, if I answer this and say no, then maybe that they'll, do like a cross-board increase, everything. I think that that's really the thought process, but yeah, we're obviously we're limited in how we can address that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, but I do think it's a real positive. Last year, that was 2.83. This year, it's up to 3.14
Yeah.
people,
um,
the score. So, I mean,
Everything
it
does.
did go up.
and maybe, when you if you put something there as far as percentage, of participation, or even if you put the number of survey answers there, because, okay, I know that there were 57 surveys this year. Without going back to the archive, how many survey questions did we have answered a year ago?
Mm.
You know,
Or response rate, yeah, from the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can do that. Certainly do that.
Yeah, that it is. I agree with Teresa. It's nice that it reflected an increase, even though those numbers are kind of small, but still it is a good increase. So
Well, and it's not always gonna increase.
no, definitely
So,
not.
little tiny ping pongs back and forth are okay.
Yeah,
When they're drastic, that's when, big changes are concerned.
especially when it comes to that pay issue, that's often a concern.
and or benefits, or one of those things that, especially with the uncertainty in the federal and state budgets right now.
I think, we have tried to share with our staff, what the value of their benefits are. And I don't know that in the past we did a very good job of that, but we've tried to explain that better, So if you are full-time and, you get the full benefit package here, there's a value. And, so hopefully that education information is helpful for them to understand that we're like to look at the full picture, not just, my paycheck that I took.
Do we do? I guess I don't really know as far as benefits go. Do we do a payment in lieu if
Yes.
we don't take?
Mhm.
I forget what that figure is,
It's $2,500 a year.
whether they're individual or family, right?
It's just the same, it's just one flat 25 and a quarterly payment.
And, and our staff also, they work 37 and a half hours a week.
Right.
They don't work 40 hours a week. So,
7.5 hour days, yeah. And that has been ever since I started. So,
And there are some health departments that are looking at even going less than that now because of the budget constraints. Talking about, some other health departments are talking about going 4 days a week or, working.
and to me, that's the wrong way to go. To me, if you're gonna reduce because of budget constraint, okay, maybe you reduce staff, but you increase the hours to 40 hours a week. And, hope you get a little bit more done in those 2.5 hours. The same staff, it's not gonna cost you that much more in fringe benefits because you're already covering the health insurance and you've already, unemployment and FICA, you've already kind of hit those caps on that.
Yeah, I mean, the big expense for full-time employee is the medical.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more you could get out of people though for 30 minutes a day.
But 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's another 2.5 hours. You know,
Well, I'm not discounting it, and I get your point, absolutely, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk going on right now. People trying to figure out what they're gonna do.
So
Well-
logically though, I mean, if they went to 4 days, I mean, I understand we're not considering that, but I mean, is that, I mean, just closing the office so they don't have to, for what?
I think that's what the other health departments are thinking. If they do 4 days a week, they're saving money because they're only open 4 days because the building's staff.
Yeah.
Well, and they're reducing their hours, like they're going to take 6 hours or 35 hours in 4 days, and they're not paying the full 40 hours.
Sure. Well, that makes sense then. That would make more sense.
as far as building, you're gonna have the services to the building. And
Well, I mean, you don't turn the heat off, you know?
Right. And I mean, like water use and that kind
Yeah.
of thing is less, but I
Right.
mean, those aren't significant amounts.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
a day.
It's interesting what different health departments are doing to try to be more accessible, you know. I think it's Calhoun, they do 7 in the morning, because their late clinics weren't getting very much traction, so instead of doing a late clinic, they do a 7 a.m. clinic. So they're open every day at 7 a.m., but they leave at noon on Friday or something like that.
well, and to be honest, I mean, if you take environmental health, I'm sure some well drillers or even contractors doing, and I know we have the online application now, but if they had to come in, do an application, some of those contractors would probably rather do a 7 a.m., you know,
I'm sure they would.
as opposed to, 8:30 or.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Lots of different ideas floating around out
Yeah.
there.
Usually though, we're not doing inspections until toward the end of the day. So it's like, you know, who do you have here at 7? You have your clerical staff. I'm in at 7 just to take applications maybe, and let them go an hour. But then your EH staff works later to pick up all of the final inspections that.
Well, and like I said, now with our online permit process, we don't necessarily have, they don't have to come to the office anymore to do
I'll
that.
have to ask Joe to give us some data on, what kind of numbers he's seeing there. Cause I don't have a good feel for that. I don't know if our contractors are embracing it or if they're not.
Yeah, I think those kind of things are good though. I mean, we talk about like serving the public, and
Mhm.
as much as possible, if we can avoid them needing to come in for
Oh, yeah.
something.
Right,
Absolutely.
and, okay, if those contractors are not embracing it, do they really know it and understand it? And maybe that's something that, that each staff can help them with, okay, they come in, they do a paper application, we have this online tool that you can do this online and it'll simplify your day. It'll simplify our day. We don't, can I help you, show you how to do that?
Yeah, we can certainly make sure they know how to use that. They might be avoiding it simply for the upcharge and using electronic payment, right? So I think it costs a little bit more to take an electronic payment.
Yeah, the credit card processing fees and everything.
Can they do an ACH transaction or not?
No, it's just credit.
I think that much is because it's a struggle to reconcile the second. It's a long time, so trying it up like really much
I thought they had that worked out.
I did too.
worked out match.
It's still taking a while to get that payment back from the vendor then.
It's not the payment. It's our ability to match up what's been paid and what has.
Yeah, the application to the payment. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, so in the EH system, the Hedgehog system, they attach a 25 random character string to that payment. And when we get it in the bank, we have to go back with that 25 random character string and try to figure out which payment that belongs to.
I could see that being fabulous.
And we have literally begged them to give us a name or an address or something that's easier to match than a 25 random characters. And the salesman's response to me was, well, nobody else has a problem with this. I said, well, they might be complaining, but I guarantee they.
Yeah, unless they figured out a different way to track that, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
And the
I can
only
see
way
that
to
being
do,
difficult.
payment on that is credit card, we don't offer any other payment option.
I mean, they could print it out and mail it in.
Yeah, I wonder about like a Venmo or PayPal.
Well, or even, you know. Yeah, I understand the upcharge to use credit card, but hey, if you can do an ACH transaction, that's gonna be, you know,
I can see that being difficult. So, I could see that being difficult. So, I don't know what you guys think about that, but
We haven't looked into trying to do some type of payment separate from the portal.
And they didn't mention any ability
But
to
if they're
do
doing
that.
it- if
They
they're doing it-
pushed, they pushed 10 different credit card brands, but they did not say anything about the ability to do an ACH.
well, I would,
Doesn't mean they can't.
I would go back to them and say, we need to get this so we can do ACH, because, you know,
Well, and we have, and we will.
so, all right.
Just like with the matching and stuff. You know, like they haven't heard from us.
so back to employee survey. When this gets posted on the website, comments and all posted on the website.
It's simply posted as part of the board packet, so it's exactly. what
Oh,
you see.
gotcha. Not so it's not like something. But
Yeah,
the
it's
public can
not.
see it.
Well, yeah, because they can see all of and everything.
They can see,
that's
yeah, I mean, they
provided
can
to
see
you.
this right now, because it's out there, part of our, mini packet for today.
Right.
We're very transparent. Everything that
That's
you
good.
guys see is.
That's good. I guess I would worry a little bit more about like the comment part of it,
Sure. Yeah, well, and it may. I mean, it might cause some people not to comment, right? Because they're
Exactly. Yeah.
concerned.
Know what's gonna.
You know,
Yeah.
and,
So,
you know, right, but, hey, also, if you're trying to attract employees to come work for you, the fact that we post our employee satisfaction survey and they can see those comments, you know, that could be a benefit as well.
well, I mean, it could be a drawback as
It could,
well. I
yeah,
mean,
it could,
right?
right,
Say,
there,
somebody could write
you
on
know.
there, hey, I don't really like Joe because he blah, 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 blah. You know?
We have had that in the past. We have redacted the name, you know, so that it is not
you know,
public.
and when it comes to the health officer's evaluation, any comments that we do on that as a board, you know, that's all has to be public, but it's a one final survey copy and that goes in her employee file.
And I'll ask for that, and I'll put that in my board report, but I'll ask for a closed session for the conversation.
Without the evaluation, right,
Yeah,
which
Figured it's first year.
you're,
I would, a public session either.
well, there's pieces of that. So if it's a satisfaction in my contract, I'm eligible for additional funds, and that of course is
that's in public,
in
but
public. The staff don't like it when we provide information about, you know, what our nurses make versus what our sanitarians make versus what they really.
Yeah, I know.
But we're public employees, and so all of that information is discoverable, so we,
It's coming to territory, unfortunately.
yes.
yeah, you work for a governmental agency.
Yeah.
You know, if I, as a farmer, if I take program payments from USDA Farm Service Agency, there's this entity that is deemed that it's necessary to post all those payments that every farmer receives. So anybody can go out and now, not necessarily in real time, it is delayed some, but you can go out and see what every one of your farmers receive from the FSA farm program payment.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe there's any action needed on that, but Teresa, if you could make those updates as we discussed as far as making sure, you know, including in that survey, maybe the participation percentage as well as the number of responses that were received in each of those years. And then, yeah, making sure that we get the question number.
Is that,
And that-
yeah, is that something that you would like update periodically in your reports? Like just the employee survey follow up and like just what's happening with that? Or-
I usually try to
Just like, hey, we have this meeting and we identified like the work plan, that this committee came up with.
I mean, not necessarily probably everything all the time, but I'll try.
Yeah, no,
To make
just
sure we do.
periodically, I think
Yeah.
this, we kind of keep track of that.
Well, we did we were talking back in March, we did the strategic plan thing, right? So that we're able to see, well, yeah. If I can just give you an update on a question I asked Andy about, if
Yeah.
that's okay?
Yeah. We're done with the employee satisfaction, right? So,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, you had a question about dead animals, and the environmental health code, right? And it is out of date, so the environmental health code hasn't kept up with changes to burial of dead animals. That has been, changed over time with the state. So, my question to Andy was, because there's a section in there that talks about, or for health officer guidance or whatever. And he did respond to me and say, that you absolutely can, do a policy that addresses this issue and that will take care of the fact that the code, still uses old language. So I just need to write that up now and make sure that environmental health has it. We can attach it to what we have online for the EH code so that people
And I
know.
would, suggest that we just make sure that we reference the state statute
Mhm.
and the, GAMP, right,
Yeah.
generally accepted agricultural management practices.
Yeah.
Because composting is completely legal.
They did it a lot with chickens recently. So,
Do it all the time in chicken, so.
Yeah.
And hogs, and cattle.
sure.
Yeah, so dead animals, I don't know if I remember how this came up, but, so what's the concern? Is just that
The
they're
code
left?
currently says burial. That's it.
That's the
Gotcha.
only option that's in the,
Gotcha. Okay.
now, that or rendering, I think, is in the environmental health code, I don't remember.
I think it's just burial. But it does have that clause in there that the health officer can provide other,
Other guidance.
yeah, we probably should pull it. But, the, Department of Agriculture, you can use burial still, but there's composting, there's rendering, there's, I think there's even incineration. But, so it's, our environmental health code is available on our website. And it's in this situation, very last, I think it's the very last entry.
Yeah, I think you're right. Disposal of dead animals. Currently it states it shall be unlawful for any person to allow a dead animal to remain for over 24 hours after death on premise or occupied by him, that's
It's poorly worded.
such animals shall be buried to a depth of 4 feet or as otherwise specified by the health officer. The bottom of the required excavation shall be a minimum of 4 feet above the high groundwater elevation.
So I think that was added in there because of the separation to the seasonal high water table. Because what we're trying to prevent is contamination for drinking purposes. But obviously it doesn't keep up. Are being used today and are authorized by DART. So I will write that up and make sure that it's added somehow to this document. So that addresses that issue for now. There's still some interest at the state level to work on a statewide sanitary code. So on code that's statewide that addresses how we permit and install on-site wastewater systems. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. currently in Michigan, local health departments usually, usually a local health department code, drives the design and installation of these systems. So we have one that covers all 3 counties. There are some district health departments that the code might be slightly different for a particular township or county, but then the rest of, whereas a county health department is just gonna have one code. But the state would really like to have one statewide code that we all have to comply with. And,
The state can take that plan and good luck getting that to the House of Representatives right now.
I don't imagine it will pass. So there was a big push at the last legislative session. Didn't happen. And now, of course, we've got different folks in the legislature. So, but there's still a push from the Senate side. But I agree with you. I don't know if there's any stomach in the website to do that. Anyway, so if we want to look at our environmental health code for updates, we can. There's not a lot that I would change. I would keep our 4 feet to seasonal high water table. I might change how we describe soils.
Yeah, and I would say on that, say 4 feet is a high water table. And so my well, the water, now capillary action, helps,
Mhm.
but I take the cap off my well. The water is down only
Well, how deep is it?
65 foot.
Right, so your static well is what, so unless there's something wrong with your well, it's drawing that water from the point,
Right,
right?
but again, seasonal high water level.
Well,
You say, so the barrel's gotta be 4 feet above seasonal high water level? I can't bury on my property.
oh, right, I see where you're going, right. But your septic system should stop 4 feet above that.
I have a mound.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah. So if your well's properly constructed and grouted,
Oh,
you're fine.
right, but what I'm saying though is,
Yeah,
you say, we have a 4 feet minimum, it must be buried 4 feet below the ground, but it's gotta be 4 feet above the seasonal high water level table. In Wright Township, you can't bury with that.
Mhm. That's why we're doing compost
Right.
and rendering.
Separation.
Well, and if you bury, and we don't even go in here, and that's our environmental health code doesn't specify it. But statute specifies that if you bury, you can only bury so many pounds within a 1 acre of dead animals within a 1 acre area.
That's why I'm gonna refer to that. I'm not getting specific, other than to refer to it.
Right, yeah, and so
Anyway,
that brings us to public comment. Any other public comment?
I had a question actually. So, at our commission meeting yesterday, we had a lot of public comment about
What do you?
lake levels, contamination in lake, north chain, south chain. One lady that came said her kids or grandkids got sick because of E. coli, north chain. And I mean, she was just talking about septic systems and all that kind of stuff. So I was just curious, and you may not know right offhand or anything like that. Do we have an idea of how many drain fields or how many septic systems drain into the lakes?
there shouldn't be any that are drained. Yeah, there shouldn't be any that have a direct line right into the lake. If we become aware of something like that, that's a violation of this code, and that's a correction. The
It's
problem we
about
have,
systems.
the problem with lake property is that you have all these little properties that are all right next to each other on little tiny postage stamp lots, and they aren't large enough to install a real good so there's like a driveway probably, and there's a septic tank and a driveway. And that dry well could be in the seasonal high water table, which then does pass more nutrients more quickly right out to the lake, right?
Well, but we're not supposed to be using phosphorus soaps anymore either, so.
Yeah, well, and if you're on one of those lake lots, you're probably not washing laundry anymore because it probably doesn't, it won't work for you. It's too much water. It'll fail your system and you won't be able to flush the toilet, right?
Yeah.
My opinion, as an EH professional, all lakes should have sewer. They should have sewer.
I mean, ideally, that's
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, that's not going to happen, because nobody wants to pay the bill, and it doesn't get any cheaper. When I was still practicing that work in, the late nineties, early 2000s, it cost things today, and triple or quadruple.
Which is when Lime Lake got their sewer system in Wright Township.
I was here when that was put in.
Or Lime Lake, but the locals had a different name
So,
because you know where those septic systems are.
Sure. Yeah.
So lakes are always contaminated, right? I mean, geese poop on the ground, birds, other birds. There's animals that aren't just dogs and cats, right? There's everything you can
Runoff.
imagine. Right, and every time it rains, it runs right into the water.
The DNR, the wildlife of the state of Michigan, wildlife owned by the state of Michigan, you can defecate wherever they want. And generally, an animal will defecate when it's drinking water.
Sure.
So then it's right next to it.
Yeah.
Or it's right in the stream that leads, deer walking through the stream,
Did they talk about LD bones in it?
Yeah.
So we do, this year, EH will go out and take some samples and investigate that. But I don't know if.
Is that really us, or is that more,
This time it's us.
it's not DEQ,
No, we have agreed
or
to,
Eagle, or,
right, we've taken the training from Eagle. If it's Eagle, I think it is.
Yeah.
We've done the training. If we get a call, we will go out and investigate it, grab a sample. Probably only once, it's the first time.
Sure.
And after that,
because that's, other than concern for swimming, but really other than that, that's the Eagle issue that,
Exactly.
right. And, people, when, you need to talk to your kids about when you're in a lake. We
don't
gotta
swallow.
make sure we don't get in our mouths and we're not swallowing it, right? Because you're gonna get Giardia. Whole issue. There's other things as well. If you happen to be in a lake where there's cattle, maybe cryptosporidium that's in the water, right? So, it's okay to swim in the lake. I love to swim in a lake, but you need to not swallow the water.
Right.
So you had comment about lake levels?
Lake levels, channels, and like algae collecting at the end of the
Sure.
channels. And
Well,
stuff
that's
change.
There's not enough water, that's why the algae collecting.
I understand that, yes. And
And-
so they come to the county. I think the county has some ability
Well,
to address it. But
What is Channel Lake, is that a quarter lake level on that? Is there a dam?
the south chain is.
Okay. And it's probably your drain commissioner is the one that administers.
Exactly. Yeah. So we talked about that, yeah. And we talked about like the treatment of like weeds and algae and all that kind of stuff being under the control of the Lake Association, right? And they handle that, the assessment figures.
If they get a permit from Eagle to
Yeah, most of those places have like routine thing that they do, so. Yeah, so there's an association that addresses that kind of stuff, but yeah, the comments that there are multiple comments about several different issues, but they're all related. And one of them was septic systems, especially that was on the north chain more so than on the south chain. So,
We hear that a lot.
yeah.
We had a lake in Hillsdale County.
Well, it's a little long lake.
mm, That's
Yeah.
not what I'm thinking, but go ahead.
Okay, well, Little Long Lake is actually split by the state line or two state lines. The part that's in Indiana has a septic system on it. The part that's in Michigan, or has sewer parts in Michigan does not.
Sure. I do understand that happens in
And-
older
And
houses. but-
they're complaining about, we get residents from the Michigan side complaining about contamination in the lake, but what was the lake you were thinking of? And
In Somerset Township, one of those two big lakes up there, they had, an ordinance that they passed that required everybody to pump their septic tanks every 5 years. Do you remember that?
no, I don't.
5 to, I think it was 5 years. Well, that got changed. So, it's up to people to just put their own name.
How could they pass an ordinance requiring people to pump their
If it
septic?
was Township ordinance or the Lake Association, or they had some kind of leverage that they were able to require that everybody get their tank pumped at a certain frequency. And doing that though could identify failure and
Sure.
then, get them in to the health department to
That's
get
not
a
a bad thought,
permit.
actually.
And but other than that, I mean, unless we get a phone call complaining that
Unless you go and dye every home.
you know how long that would take. So you go to this house and you put in blue, and go to this house and you put in green, and you go to this house and you put in orange, and then you come back the next day, and I mean, you'd have to, it'd just be every day. We have dye tested in the past. Years ago, we actually don't do much dye testing anymore because we need permission to dye test now. We didn't used to. Back in the day, when I was a new sanitarian, they would use that dye all the time. And then health departments got told, you can't do that. But you're putting in chemical.
Sure.
Actually, in the inserts.
Sure.
All right.
It's just in Indiana, sorry, not Thursday.
Well, there is a lake in Branch County that is sewer, but I think it's served by Indiana. The sewer system's in Indiana. I can't remember the three towns. Is that what it is? It's down, I mean, it splits, so it's on both sides. Anyway,
Probably George,
maybe.
that is split by the state line.
All right.
All right, motion we adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.